Hello, 3D engineering. Let's begin a few things. I'd like to say it's been a great year. Sorry that it got interrupted. We never got a chance to finish some animations. I have a lot of Lego animations. I'm going to upload those to YouTube. They should be viewable by the day's end. I downloaded them all. And we're going to send off the school year with a 3D printing challenge. And I know that I have AutoCAD opened. I'm going to show you what I did. The first thing is let's look at what inspired me. So I was looking around for things to 3D print for my son because he loves Star Wars, and I came across this little artwork piece. And it looks great, you know, true Death Star surfaces, and it just has so many cool little things that I thought would be great to do for him. And then it occurred to me that this could also be part of a inspiration for the last and final project, a 3D printing challenge for you. So that's what I did. I put together this, and hopefully you'll get into it. There's going to be a sign-up sheet, and you'll get a chance to see how you can do it. So let's just review a little bit about AutoCAD because I know you love it. First thing I did was I was like, all right, how big is this going to be? Well, if every single kid does a square, then maybe what we can do is try to make it printable by me, and it doesn't take 15 days. So I started out with a very simple, I believe it was an 8 by 8 square, 8-inch by 8-inch square. I love this tool right here. Here's another review tool. Construction line, X line, and in it has offset. And what I did was offset 1 inch. And you can see that if I do this 100 times, I could probably just copy these over. Sorry. Copy this down. All right, so you get the picture. So I made my grid, all right? Now, after the grid was done, I trimmed everything out, and then I started making shapes, okay? Now, what's great about this is how many there are, and it matches up pretty nicely with how many students, and it fits together like a Tetris piece. I really like that. Some authentic Tetris pieces and ones that never existed. And I started playing around with what to write. So if we have letters written down, they would come in the text box. If you remember playing with text, CHS, it would come in as a smaller, thicker, bolder looking design to the font. So I went through and I found, this is what happens when you CAD on the weekends. I found a text that blocks everything. So what is this? This is just a text box. In AutoCAD, if you're ever playing around with this, there's a way to explode AutoCAD. All right. So I can explode AutoCAD. There's a modify text, explode AutoCAD. Click on that. And now what it does is it ungroups it. So now it's like a whole bunch of little letters. This is great. Why is this great? Check this out. I'm going to just use the explode command one more time and just basically click on all of these guys. Now, those are probably already exploded. And they ungrouped them. So now it's like all individual lines. So that's cool to play with fonts if you want to ever do anything with laser cutting and you want to modify the letters. Now you know that you can modify lettering. And so what did I do? I started using the offset command and scale, and I came up with this. And I think I did an okay job with the 20, and the 0 I really watered down. So it still looks like a 0. The CHS 2020. All right, so that is what's going to be overlaid on the grid. So my grid is here. CHS, I just copied and moved over, and I started taking these and breaking these down. And what's going to happen with this, you're going to see. It's crazy. Crazy. I labeled all the parts and I started breaking them down. All right, so here's all the shapes broken down. Actually, I just might as well just show you this. All of these pieces are all of those lines, and this is why AutoCAD is so useful. So I did all of that as a pre-planning phase. I'm not even in the 3D printing phase or the 3D design phase. Watch what I can do here. Let's say we want to do letter Q. So I'm just going to highlight all of the lines that pertain to letter Q, use the copy command, and I'm just going to copy this guy over. And I'm going to use the trim command, my favorite one, trim, and I'm just going to use these. I'm going to trim these out. And anything that is touching it, all right, and all this is garbage. Because I used the copy command, it's all garbage. So now I have Q outlined. I highlighted that and I used right click, group, made it into a group, and now I have it ready down here. So I did that for all of the parts. I even added a trim board, A, C, D, and B. All right, now those trim boards is going to be what kind of like hovers around. Obviously you can see it's going to be some sort of border. I haven't decided what's going to go into it, but I am going to be looking for volunteers. So now this is where you guys come into play. These are all laid out. You look at the shapes, they all have crazy designs going into it. All right, some have more, some have less. Obviously the borders, I'm up for ideas. But what happens? Well, what we need to do, let's see if we could go back to this, is in my 3D engineering shared folder, shared drive, 3D engineering, there's the COVID 3D printing signups. Okay, so you're going to put your name anywhere you want to be, whatever letter you want there. Okay, and you can see what these letters are when I give you this file. You're actually going to get this file so you can see which letter it is. Okay, I'll give you a screenshot of it too. Now, how does that work with Fusion? This is the beauty of how process-driven learning is important. You've seen before how to take files from Fusion into AutoCAD. Now what we're doing is we're taking a product from AutoCAD into Fusion. So let's go over to Fusion. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this file into 3D Engineering P2. You should have access to it, and CAD on the weekends. A drawing file can be uploaded. So let's just go upload, select a file, and let's just go to COVID Chatham files and ready for Fusion. Now, what's ready for Fusion? I'm just going to let you know that it is this file right here, ready for Fusion. Let me just save that file. Okay, I already isolated that. If you take a look, there's no other backup storyline CAD files to it. All right, so I did that, and that's that file. Hit open, let it upload, and still uploading, still uploading. It's done. All right, so now there's a file in Engineering P2 CAD on the weekends, ready for Fusion. Okay, now that is a file that what we're going to do is insert into a CAD file, Fusion file. First things first, save your work. All right, so we're just going to say that this is a Fusion test file. You'll probably name it something else. Okay, so now I have Fusion test file saved, and just like if we were dragging in any other file, okay, what we do is we drag in ready for Fusion. Now it's going to come in as a huge file, and we're going to, in this move copy, I'm just going to highly recommend rotating it. Okay. And what's great is I've now taken out everybody's confusion with what the measurements are for all the letters. So we design. Now what do we do? Basically what we're going to be looking at here is the fun of playing around with making something that is inspired by this, with all these little intricate details, maybe motors, maybe wires, piping, storage units, access panels, electronic component mock-ups, right on the surfaces. So let's make a base. And this is what I'll do. I'll set up some instructions too. But let's identify the fact that look at how quick and easy it is to go from AutoCAD to Fusion. And it all works out. This is going to be all in millimeters. Let's go 3 millimeters down. Maybe we want to make something come up, and you know, we could do a lot of other details here, but the idea here is, the lettering that's going to be going on throughout here is, you know, something that you guys design so that it can be fabricated with a 3D printer. All right. And you can add whatever you want. And if the lettering portion of your shape is the highest surface, then that would be cool. Or maybe it's like indented, you know, you could really start playing around with this now. We could take that, we can use the offset command and click on this surface. We could come in on it and finish that, and we will do this. Okay. You know, we start adding a lot of details to it, and maybe even some components that don't fit in with it. Maybe this is where those cool access panels are, or round surfaces that are going to be, it's going to grab the whole thing. Just hide that file. Just notice that I hid the original file so that I could gain access to the sketch that was below it. Hey. Oh. Okay. So now we're starting to get that detail in. Maybe even have some landing pads or control decks that look similar to that link that I sent you. I think that that would be great. Now, how does that all come together? What I'm going to be doing, this is an example of one that I printed, not printed yet. But this is one to scale. With a little bit of detail, you can see that this is probably part of the letter 0, not letter, the number 0. And this is part of the number 2. And what I did was I made it look a little bit taller, as looks like a tower. I started adding window lines to it. I think that that would be really, really cool to do. And so that's the project in a nutshell. How it came about, how I broke it down so that it's manageable, how I can install a DWG file that's right here into a Fusion file, as long as this file is saved first, and then just start designing. What I'm going to be probably asking for you is at the end of this, and I'll do another tutorial, but it is pretty simple to go to Tools, Make, and what we can do here is we could choose files, and we could export this as a file to email me, and this is what gets 3D printed. This is going to be called an STL, and this is a little bit more of a tutorial later. Okay, so how does that sound? I think it sounds pretty amazing. I think right now we are looking at a pretty good ending to the year, and I'm hoping